much target-oriented, too much swing-oriented, rather than when you play the game, as like Hale mentioned back there. He said, you know, you got to know what your boundaries are in this shot. You got a bunker, you got sand, you got hazard right, bunker short, bunker long. The game is played more within boundaries than it is played at targets. When you get shots that you really go at, you always have a target, but you score by keeping your ball within boundaries. And to keep your ball within boundaries, you've got to have some feel for playing slightly different shots, adjusting your distances, doing different things. And so it's one of the things that I think that some of the guys in Australia do very well of teaching. I got to do a clinic with Jason Day one time, and I had never met Jason. And I've never met his teacher. I didn't have a clue what they were working on, but I knew that first off, we're going to do this clinic. I said, you know, they don't want to watch me hit balls, Jason. They want to watch you hit balls. So you're hitting balls. I'm talking. And the first thing I did was I said, Jason, why don't you tell everybody what you and your teacher are working on? And I without any idea what it was going to be. And I thought it was great. He put his ball down right here, and he walked up here, and he put his alignment stick in the ground up here, directly in line between his ball and the target. He said, we're working on starting the ball to the right of the stick and drawing it to the target, starting it to the left of the stick and fading it to the target. And we started out trying to miss the stick by 18 inches, and we're trying to bring that down now to miss the stick by a little bit less. Technique is very important, obviously. It's a huge component of the game, but you can't forget how important feel, touch, the eyes, adjusting things, because like Hale said, he's seen Jack Nicklaus nervous. You know, we all get nervous. We all change out here on the golf course, and if you don't have the ability to adapt and adjust to those things, then you might have a beautiful golf swing, but you're not going to be a beautiful player. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I just want to have beautiful scores. I don't really care how I get there. I just want to have a beautiful score. As a player, that's the ultimate, is to have the beautiful score. And how I get there, I think the way the game was played with older equipment and the older players, we are really individual in how we came up learning the game and playing it. Because it was really a feel game. It has become the opposite now. It's a power game, and a lot of the younger people really play very, very much similarly, but I'm not sure they're players in the sense that they're hitters. And that kind of gets to how you play these holes. You take some of the younger players, might go back there, and everything's going to be straight up here, right at the flag. Well, that's not my game. It's not Phil's game. It might be their game, but I dare say that I'd love to take them on at this game right here. I'll lose some, but out of 10, if I win 6 and they win 4, I still win. So, to Phil's point, I think you learn to play within what you're comfortable doing, and as it reflects of how you play, I think you have to have. I can teach the way I play, and I can go to Phil and maybe teach him some things as I do. But I'm looking. We got physical differentials here, so I've got to be able to manufacture something for this student to teach him how to play what I think is the right way to play. Now, there may be some other player, he's teaching me just the opposite. He may be trying to teach me the way he plays, and I may have some pushback from that. So he's got to find a way to get to me so I understand I've got to play with what I do. He's got to identify what I do best and help that. And I think we too often, and I'm not a teacher, so I'm maybe not saying the right things here, but I think as a player, I want to have somebody, if they're going to give me advice on how to play, I want them to either know how to play the game really well, or they've been around a lot of good players or great players that have taught the teacher how to play. Because playing and teaching are two different things. Hopefully they'll come together, but there's still that distance in there that only the heart or the eye or the soul or the discipline can close.
To that point, I think what helped my teaching so very much was.
Sorry. I just have a question. Do teachers spend too much time on the driving range then? And not enough time on the course?
Absolutely.
Well, let's put it this way. And I'm not being braggadocious about this at all. I've never had a lesson. I was not around this. I did not have a pro where I grew up. I I didn't have the time, I didn't have the money, I just didn't have it. And there wasn't a practice ring, so I played. I learned to play by playing. And I think that's where you learn. So, to your, I don't know, you have to kind of judge, I think, each student. Do they need more playing? Do they need more ball striking? You know, what's their skill level? Are they to a point now where they can take some of these skills that they're acquiring and learn to use them on the golf course? But I would say, I'd like to see more playing lessons than just, if that's possible. I know you guys
Well, that's
are,
why we're here today, because
Yeah.
I feel like that's a significant mistake or weakness that most of us have, is not being around really good players enough, not understand how their minds work, and that's why we appreciate the time you're giving us. But the thing that helped my teaching the very most, Hale, was when I used to go to the Open with Mr. Nicholas, as eyes for him, and Lena, and they would hit balls side by side. Now, there couldn't be two much more different golf swings and two different ball flies, and I soon realized, dumbass, you better not give both of them the same information, because it's not going to work. And so you've got to, I always find it's important for me to find a shot that you picture and make sure you're using the club so that can happen. Not so much what your body's doing, but how to use the instrument in a manner that fits what you're trying to do in the shape of your golf ball.
well, again, to your point is that we all can go out and every professional golfer, every tour player that's ever been there can hit a golf ball. That's not the point. It's when you get on the golf course and that anxiety level ratchets up just a little bit, as we see in your students, I'm sure. When it comes up a little bit and you get on the golf course, all bets are off. Because now all of a sudden that guy that was really good on the practice tee is not so good playing, and vice versa.
Well, if I could expand upon that a little bit, my wife coaches a Division I women's golf team in Corpus Christi, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and I help out. I'm a volunteer coach and work with girls. And one of the things that we hear a lot, she's been doing it now for 7 years, and we hear a lot is the girls, all of a sudden they get in competition like Hale's talking about, they get a little nervous, they say, well, my swing doesn't feel good, and they're like, what do I do? They've been taught so much about swing, and we preach and preach and preach, and I keep looking for a way to impress upon them to find a way to play the game without worrying about what your swing feels like. And so what I decided to do this past summer, was to go around to some of the very best players in the history of the game and ask them, what percentage of the time on the regular tour, when you're at your best, did your swing feel really good? And somebody said, well, what is really good? And I said, well, my best description was this. You're on the 18th tee at the Players' Championship with water left, mounding and stuff to the right, and you feel pretty confident that you're going to hit the fairway. And Hale's answer was very typical. I asked Hale, I asked, all the guys I asked were, for the most part, were Hall of Fame caliber players. Nick Price, Peter Jacobson, a lot of great players. Hale's answer was 25% of the time it felt really good. That was it. Here's a guy that won 20 times on the tour. He won 3 U.S. Opens, 5 Ryder Cup teams, however many 45 tournaments on the Champions Tour, whatever.